my Gill state of corruption. Our last video, I told you how we were going to expose the deep state. From senators, from the corruption at the highest level in the FBI, the highest levels of the IRS. This is evidence and information that I'm telling you, and I will prove to you in next videos, that President Trump knows this evidence. And this witness, the puppet master, Alex Walker, is protected by Governor Sununu, Republican Governor Sununu. Remember, I don't play politics. Walker's tied into the banking department. Leverage me with that. The same banking department that's laundering the money of the corrupt and laundering the money of drug cartels. Now, let me introduce you to the puppet master. Walker was my attorney for well over 10 years. And my friend. Right. In fact, I'm going to show you his bio. It should come up. And what you're going to see in this bio, he doesn't mention a single client except for the world champion of horse racing, the leader of horse racing in North America. Well, that's me. Right. And my good buddy Alex Walker, who I used to take on trips to Florida for racing, California. Let me explain this to you. We went to the Breeders' Cup in California. I had a horse run and didn't win. I won the next 7 races. You ever watch Let It Ride? Right. I went from 2,000, my last bet, if I would have won, was $1.3 million. We were leaving the racetrack. We had lost. Alex said he had to go to the bathroom. I followed him. Went to the window and cashed a $20 ticket. For me to lose. I should have known better then. My mother was sick that trip. She died within a few months thereafter of cancer. Alex Walker, my good friend, was wheeling her around in a wheelchair. My mother was saying, "What a gentleman," to me. How's this, Ma? You know what Alex Walker did? He destroyed a business that was 30 years in the making. Stole the inheritance of my children. Why? Because I caught a Ponzi scheme from the banking department, again, who was laundering money. Now, that might seem hard for some of you to believe, so let's do this systematically, right by the numbers, okay? What if I show you, I have here, and I'll put it up on there, a settlement offer, this one right here. And in this settlement offer, that offers me $50 million. And the attachment to that settlement offer, by the way, that's signed by Robert Curley of Morrison and Mahoney, and I'll explain that relationship, all these releases. Now, who are you going to see on that release? How about Alex Walker? My buddy. Right. He's on these releases. Bill Shaheen is on those releases. And every lawyer and law firm, every accountant that we had used. See, Walker was the puppet master of that too. There's his name right there, third from the top, Alex Walker, okay? I'll post it all. Even the most corrupt, even Walker himself, even Shaheen have never denied that the offer was for $50 million. From another law firm, Morris Mahoney, who was represented by Liberty Mutual. Well, wait a minute. Liberty Mutual, their biggest client, was Walker's insurers, Shaheen's insurers. It was a setup from the beginning, again by the puppet master Walker. So now let's think what we got here. We got the law firm of Divine Millimat We got the law firm of Shaheen and Gordon. Again, the roots of the deep state. How do they explain offering me $50 million? Now, you know who else is on this? The IRS. Which means this Walker, as a witness, gets us the IRS. Gets us a Senator, Gene Shaheen. Gets the Department of Revenue with a forgery. Gets us the banking department with laundering. 50 million, right? And multiple emails that I'll post. And you'll see in those emails, Divine Millimat is the lion's share of the Gill, which Walker was the president, okay? This is all in writing. Listen, they don't pay you 50 million, by the way, for being wrong. And the other part of what they were paying you for wasn't just the extortion, was the corruption in our courts, which is how I told you the deep state works. So let's keep walking through this, because now I'm going to show you an article that says Alex Walker won a Supreme Court case against Erin Day, state of corruption, my organization, made up of victims that we were protecting. You see, Erin Day is a witness. Erin Day went to Trump's people through James O'Keefe, Project Veritas. So if they try to get rid of me, Erin Day was a loose end. So all of a sudden, Walker's taking care of that. And don't worry, the Supreme Court justice who overturned it was appointed by Sununu and Sununu's buddy, Patrick Donovan, from Salem, New Hampshire. I know these pinheads both. See? Now we're moving pieces. Because if you get Walker, you get Sununu. You get Sununu, you get the Banking Commission. If you get the Banking Commission, you get the drug cartels and the money of the corrupt. See that? Like dominoes. Remember now, let's keep going. 50 million. Please give me your release. And you'll see this article. Let's step by it. And it says that Alex Walker was awarded $5 million from me. Well, wait a minute. What did I say? Extortion? What do you think they were paying me 50 for? That I refused. And you know why I refused? I wouldn't give them the releases. Because this wasn't just what they were doing to me. It's what they were doing to every citizen. And what's being done to you across this country. In good faith, I could never sign that. All right, so let's take a look. In the article, it said that I accused him of selling drugs, protecting drugs. Well, see, once I caught Walker, the youngest president, Divine Millimat, you immediately leave. They leave because they cut themselves away from the host so they don't incriminate it. Where does he go? To the hospital. The biggest hospital, Catholic Medical Center. And now he's the executive vice president. Boy, he moved up, especially from being a lawyer. Now listen, I'm going to show you an article. Do you know where fentanyl is coming out of? You know, synthetic heroin. That's what's killing people. From the hospitals. Now, you'll see a picture, and you can watch a video, that you see me deliver that same evidence to the DEA under camera. And would we come up with it in a couple weeks? Oh, I don't know. An 80,000 pound capacity tractor trailer full of fentanyl? 80,000 pounds? So what was it after packaging? 40,000 pounds of fentanyl? 20,000? Oh, I don't know. Enough to kill everybody. New Hampshire's a distribution center. You got it? It's small. It's well protected and completely corrupt. This Walker is part of the deep state at the very highest level, which is why he's at the hospital. So you see, it is drugs and protecting the money and the laundering thereafter drugs. Sununu becomes governor running against me based on leveraging the corruption's money and the cartel's money by controlling the banking department. See, so remember, 50 million, and here's where we are. Now, the DRA, Department of Revenue, Walker leveraged me with the Department of Revenue. In fact, they leveraged my properties, my building, my money. It wasn't the cartels that took the property, it was that. But they're also on the settlement offer. There also was represented by with me? Alex Walker. And you'll see releases from Walker asking for the DRA and saying he would release me from the DRA, which was bogus. You want to know how bogus? This right here, and again, we'll post it. It's one of the leading experts of forgeries. That tax return, for state tax return, was forged. 100% verifiable. You know who told the accountant to forge it? A guy named Dana Cohen was the accountant. You know what he said? Your attorney told me to sign that. You mean Alex Walker? Right. Listen, when you don't take 50 million, you know what they do? They leverage you for hundreds of millions. That's what they did. And that's why the DRA wanted a release. And that's certified. And again, Walker. So let's think now. We get a deep state governor. We get the Department of Revenue, which the corruption within the state, okay? Again, from Walker. But let's keep going. The IRS? Wait a minute. The IRS is on the same settlement offer. Walker, along with Senator Shaheen and Bill Shaheen, was coordinating the IRS. In fact, we also have the criminal division of the IRS, Titka, who said that it was the worst corruption they have ever seen, except for they had an accountant. I had an agent named Thomas Morley. Here's the paperwork, right? All my mail from the IRS for 3 years was being intercepted by Curtis Morley, the brother of Tom Morley. See what they had to do? When I refused the 50 million, they had to cover up this investigation. I went to it criminally. And who was behind it? The puppet master Walker and Shaheen. Remember, 50 million, multiple emails for releases from all the entities that are leveraging me today. All right? So think about what he gets. So now we're already into the governor, the Department of Revenue, the IRS. Now listen, in this IRS, we only have Tim Campus. Tim Campus was the head of the criminal division of the IRS of investigations. He was the Deputy Attorney General, on tape saying he had moles in my office. He resigned in a year. Listen, I just pointed you, you resign. Now think about it, we only have them on tape.
I don't care. It's my insurance. I don't want to be wrong. They're the wrong thing. And so that's nothing. I did nothing but give them time. In one capacity, told me about something like a memo. Good times, Tim. This is going to be your case. I'm going to call him, Chris, and I'm going to tell him, like, we have a plan. We've had an undercover.
And again, this is Walker. You understand now, from this guy, from the politicians, to the highest ranking members of the IRS. That's deep state corruption. You don't think the IRS is going to leverage the president? The president thinks so. There's an interview that I have with Patrick Howley. Look at the little evil elf. He only worked for Breitbart, working with campaign manager for the president, Lewandowski, who was my contact with evidence to Trump. And then he was working with Breitbart with Steve Bannon, the next campaign manager. Wait a minute. Big league politics? He was the owner? Who did he work with? Roger Stone, the next campaign manager of the president. You know who I sat down with a 3-hour interview, videotaped the whole thing, and I can show you his card to Patrick Howley. It gets better. Patrick Howley's the one that caught Gene Shaheen in the corruption with the IRS targeting enemies. They pleaded guilty. Shaheen kept her job. Lois Lerner was fired from the IRS. But it was Howley, and he's meeting me regarding the IRS. But he's protecting Walker. He's protecting Sununu. He's protecting the drug cartel. President Trump, the art of the deal. You remember that airplane flying into Manchester, Vice President Pence turned it around in the air? Right, that was my evidence. And suddenly the president goes, in 2 weeks I'm going to tell you what happened. Except for he didn't now, did he? You know what happened? He cut a deal. That deal was Sununu to support him. I remember President Trump. Remember that speech in Manchester, the blood of our children? Well, I remind you of that. And I reminded you, promised the people of New Hampshire and across this country, I need you to trust the American people. Don't play politics. You win more votes in the trust of our people by confronting not just the deep state of the IRS, you're using my information, and of the FBI, you're using my information. But let's take out the cartels and the people who protect them. That truly is the deep state. Let's keep going. Now, let's get the FBI. You know how we get the FBI? I have an inventory list. Not just any inventory list. You'll see this is from Andrew Lullin, the most powerful U.S. attorney in United States, bar none. The Boston FBI covers 5 states. Lullin, in this, admits and has written evidence that he received from me. And this first package, you see this information from the IRS? In hand. He has the actual envelopes. So of Titka, of Tim Campers in the recording, but Tom Worley and Curtis Morley collecting my correspondence to the IRS for 3 years in his hand, delivered by me in camera. Well, what'd you do with that? And not just Lullin, everything went to special agent in charge of the Boston FBI, Volin Toller. They both got a copy. Let me see what they said the evidence was. And again, you'll see it. Organized crime, extortion, attempted murder. That's right, we only had 2 videos of them trying to murder me. A guy coming into my office at night, and if it wasn't for someone coming through the door, he had the gun to my face. Right? No one's denying it. They ain't denying it. The FBI, in fact, the FBI says they have the evidence. They also have a recording of a hitman refusing the contract on my life because at the time he says he didn't do politics. I was running for governor. He explains how he had to do 7 years in jail for biting a guy's nose off, then sawing his ears off. Sounds like a great guy. Ordered by the head of the drug cartel, associated and working with Walker. So what did Walker now say? $5 million, and said drugs, which are coming out of those hospitals. How do you think you fill up 80,000 pound capacity tractor trailer? And let me see. You think they might kill you for 50 million? If they were going to pill you 50 million to shut up, what's the price of a bullet? All right? So let's keep going on. Mail fraud? They even said hitman and had the tape. The corruption of Morris Mahoney and Liberty Mutual. Who protected, remember the deep state with these law firms, who protected Shaheen, Walker, IRS, Department of Revenue, Banking Department, every single lawyer and law firm that I had worked for. They represented the same company we were suing. It was a conflict from the beginning. At the date of filing, they said we were 3 days late with right of rescission. Now, there was an investigation that proved all of it by Marisa Caputo. Everything. There was no thing. Well, why do you think the settlement came through Morris Mahoney, representing Morris Mahoney for $50 million? They asked for their own releases. But remember, again, Walker, not just the puppet master, but by being that, he connects himself with all these entities, including now the FBI. Remember? One guy gives us a governor, gives us the corruption in the state, gets us the IRS, gets us the FBI, which the FBI has all this evidence. Admittedly, this from the Freedom of Information Act, they can't deny it. The fraud of the IRS. This is all itemized, and you will see this, and dated. Okay? So how is it that my good buddy, who stole everything from my children, as we paid him millions of dollars to represent me personally, represent and protect my business, destroyed everything you can take from somebody, all because I had to expose the corruption that existed, not just in New Hampshire, but in all our states. 100%, all the evidence, undeniable. That's the deep state. Think about this. How many of you have been cheated from insurance companies? How many of you have been cheated by big banks? Family courts. IRS. Have your paycheck levied. Have you sent to jail? I am showing you that they're part of the deep state. The thing here is there is no one to go to. The people you go to help are the exits that they block. This is how this works. How many times have you said to yourself, I can't, no one's going, no one's helping me. That's it. That's the secret to their organization. And again, I remind you, from that 50 million, the cartels sued for 277. They used the cartel to leverage me. When they don't take you 50, they sue you for 100 million. What they do is they own the court. The same Judge Delker who represented Walker. No evidence, no witnesses I could submit.
I understand your position, Mr. Gill. I'm going to issue.
No, I'm telling you, Judicial Watch in America understands my position. And the corruption that goes through this courthouse, in the courthouse, people understand. Listen, there's a train coming right over you.
They own the paralegal. They own the lawyers. Does that seem far-fetched? I remind you that $50 million offer was all my lawyers, paralegals, and representatives, including them. It's an absolute patent. It is the methodology of how they work. Judge Delker, with Shaheen, my attorney, again, ready? Represented the drug cartel. Never to mind that both entities was a conflict of interest from being my lawyer. They could have never Divine Millimac could have never represented Walker. Shaheen and Gordon could have never represented Aganos and the cartel. But understand this, they were leveraging me for their own releases still. They couldn't have anybody else look at it because they would become witnesses. And that's how it works. Don't forget the importance. President Trump, this one witness would get you the methodology of corruption within these law firms. It would show you the corruption and how it works in the state and the corruption within our courtrooms. It would show you the corruption in the DEA. Most importantly, the IRS and the FBI. And I know President Trump from meeting with the bureau chief, Epoch Times, Stephen Grady, right, your most trusted ally and media source. He interviewed me. I'll show you his card and a number of Howley on it. You know, it's something interesting. I called him last week. The office number was disconnected and so was his cell phone. You're distancing yourself from this. You understand the blood of our children could come back and hit you. Well, don't. Let's do the right thing. Let's hit a home run. We know you're going to use the information against the IRS to leverage them because we know they're going to leverage you. You know the FBI is part of the rushing investigation. You know Shaheen and Hassan are part of the deep state. That's 2 votes in the Senate. How close did you come from impeachment? I know you know there. Your people have told me you know there. You know have all that information. Time not to play politics. It's time to trust the American people and do what's right for them. This moment in time may not happen again. We're in a balance. We are at scales of justice. If we don't do something now, if we don't take this opportunity, we may never get it again.
You see all these emails? The emails and the settlement offers?
And who offered you a settlement?
Liberty International the lawyers of Morris Mahoney. Now, Morris Mahoney pretended to be my lawyers to get through statute of limitations. That's what Marisa will tell you. You ready? They offered me $50 million on the settlements. Let's take a look at that book.
In what context did they offer you a settlement you were suing them?
What they did was, by covering all that up, I wasn't suing them, I was trying to put them in jail. I was using Morris Mahoney, and you'll hear recordings saying, because they could get me a case with the FBI. That's what they were for. They sat on it to get past that statute of limitations. It turns out Liberty, who offered the $50 million, is their biggest client in the world. Okay? So they are on it, and that settlement is signed. Now think about this. You know who's on that settlement? Bill Shaheen. You know who's on it? The banking department, the banking commission, the Department of Revenue. Every lawyer that I had through the divorce, through the business, all requesting their releases, including the IRS.
Okay, so just go back to this. So how do they offer you a settlement if you're not suing?
There it is. Why? How about this? I didn't have to sue them. I just was going to put them in jail.
So they preemptively offered you.
What happened was, when they turned around and I caught them, they wanted me to go, and I have recording, Nick Alexander, to go to a hotel room, never to meet all the other people involved. And they wanted to settle. And I said, I'm not doing it. Simple put. And you'll see the emails to verify that. You ready? I said, I will not give you a release. It wasn't about the money, it was about the releases. And you'll see coinciding emails that saying, I wouldn't take it. You'll see a tape from Married from the Mob. The woman was was there to offer me $50 million, and she admitted it.
Just to be clear, in offering you a $50 million settlement, who specifically offered you that?
Liberty. Here it is. You know, understand this. What they do is, they wanted me to, what it is a stipulation and confidentiality agreement. Don't tell anybody. Well, let's take a look, right? The wife's attorney, my attorney, all these attorneys. Look at them. Matt Kozel, Alex Walker wants a release. Justus, Maria, all these people want a release. And what for? All right? Markman, Divine Miller, Lisa Tracy. She was my controller, the one that was working for Shaheen. Tim Powell, he was the head of the IRS from Portland, who told me that it was Gene Shaheen. Think about that. His name's on that release. They know he told me.
So who's Liberty?
As an insurer, you ever heard of Liberty Mutual?
Yeah.
You know the parent company Liberty Mutual is? Liberty.
So the parent company Liberty Mutual offered
Liberty,
you.
yeah. It's Bill Shaheen, by the way. I'm sorry.
They wanted you to sign a contract saying that you wouldn't talk about this kind of corruption anymore, this drug running and stuff like that.
Right. All done.
And
So I could
this company Liberty was going to pay you $50 million to get you to stop talking about this.
settle. Well, not just stop talking, settle for any potential claims. So, well, and they say that. A global settlement to aim, and look at all the people who are on this. These are witnesses. Look, William McCully, Divine Milliman, Wiggins and North, Internal Revenue, Banking Department, DRA, Friedman.
So these are witnesses for who?
And it's signed. No, these are all people asking, this is companies asking for releases. Every attorney, every accountant, every single one needed a release. You know why? It was one giant operation. How it got giant is every time they wanted me to settle, I said no.
Mike Gill, State of Corruption.